all of my lovely men and women, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I apologize, I'm 10 minutes late. I know, I can hear you all now judging me and saying, he's supposed to be starting so and so minutes ago. I've been waiting here. It's okay. It's just, it's been one of those mornings. Like, I got up at 3:30. I mean, not 3:30. I got up at like 8:30. I was still tired, so I laid back down. Had like this crazy dream. Uh, I'll talk about it later. I might not. And then after that, I woke up at like 9 something, 9:18. So I gotten up, taken a shower, got dressed, did my skincare, everything like that, and now I'm here. But anyway, I didn't forget, I'm supposed to be streaming on Tuesdays and Fridays, so that's what I've been doing, what I've been trying to do. And I also got some coffee with me. So off stream, I actually ended up finishing doing some of this line art that was supposed to get done for like these buildings and stuff like that. So now I just need to color it in, really, and then I'll be done with these different background assets, at least for this scene. Then I'll have to draw some smaller assets for the next. I have also been working in my sketchbook, and so the concept art for excuse me, and so the concept art for Neo, New York, which is this location right here, is almost done. And it's actually really exciting to draw, create, and just have it almost finished. So right now what I'm doing is hiding some of these layers. And if I can find this building right here. So when I was creating this, I didn't just want to have, separate floating islands. I decided to add some floating rocks around it too, because it really adds to the ambiance and the atmosphere. And even though it's small, it does in fact add a bit of a world building, story building asset to it. Because the whole thing about the world is that when magic returned, there were different geological phenomenon, and in New York's case, chunks of the city began floating and levitating, free floating on their own. And so not every single location is going to levitate as high or is going to remain whole. The In a sense, the different buildings that are atop New York almost acted like support beams, which kept the city together when it began rising in the air. but there were certain segments that chipped away from each other. It's not like they fell, but in fact, they did sort of just go their own directions. And that's really what these different shards and chunks of Earth is meant to symbolize. And people actually use these floating rocks and floating crystals for different types of machines, like like flying cars as well as airships have this sort of anti-gravity core, and it's really just made out of these rocks and these chunks of earth that are suffused with this floating energy in them. And the process is quite interesting to where different scientists and engineers will use their magic to condense these rocks into crystals. And then these crystals sort of act as cores to different engines, machines, and vehicles for flight. And if you're wondering, do these rocks run out of magic? No, they don't, because again, how the world building works is that magic exists in a cycle. It's almost like it's a combination of radiation and a particle where it's essentially like the water cycle or the carbon cycle, where the particle magic is going from one state to another. And then that state shift from one location to another or from one object to another, it emits this sort of energy that creates the magical effect, which is why humans are able to sleep or eat food in order to sustain their magic and regain their magic reserves, and which is also why things like rocks and jewels are so much more valuable because while they do contain a lot of magic within them, magic particles in them, at the same time they can sort of refurbish themselves and refresh themselves over time. It does take time for more natural elements to regenerate their magic without human or other or a living creature's intervention. So that's one of the caveats and I'd almost say downsides of this. Now, I would also argue that living on a floating island is rather cheap, and living on floating islands has actually, dare I say, strengthened the economy because of the different sort of laws, regulations, as well as just the industry that has come about through these types of businesses, like the creation of different spells and portals that allow people to instantly travel to these islands, between islands, as well as different flying machines like flying cars, flying vehicles that have come about, creating new taxi and ferry services, and not even just the industrial benefits, but more so the recreational benefits as well. There's like because people had to invent airships in order to get from one floating island to another. In that same vein, they've also created sort of these cruise lines for these airships where they might not specifically stay in the city. They might go out, or they might, go to one of the revitalized zones, which is full of like, plants, wildlife, different things like that. And people will have like nice cruises over forests or over volcanoes and get tans and stuff like that and just enjoy themselves. It is in Witcher's 13, the world is almost in a sort of platinum age where pretty much everything is just going right. That's really all I can describe it as, is everything is just going right. Two more weeks until ECGC. That means I have to deal with crazy coworkers for 2 more weeks. But hey, it's gonna be worth it because I believe I can find a job. I believe that I will find a job and then I can finally leave retail because mm, all I can say is people are crazy over there. Like somebody literally busted the lock to like the headphones and like they stole a bunch of items, a bunch of stuff. Now, I didn't stop them because, I don't get paid to risk my life. That stuff is insured. But like they looking at me like, I'm over, why didn't you do anything? I said, people are crazy. Literally like the other day, not even the other day, like yesterday, there was this guy, dude was out of it. That's all I can say is he was like talking to himself, like he was jumping around, like he was snatching things out my hand. He asked for like baby monitors. I said, "Oh, that's gonna be in pharmacy." He said, "No, but I need cameras." And then I said, well, cameras are over here. And like I was afraid to follow him because he's like, oh, can you show me? Can you show me? And like and there was like a bunch of different people in electronics. So like I had to help him, and like even the other customers, like they were looking at this guy rather strangely. Like he had really bad acne. He also had like blackheads all over his face and all over his nose. And I hate to say it, but he almost looked like he was on something. Pretty much, he just looked like a danger. Is all I can say. And so like I had rung him up for his stuff. Like he had some T-shirts and a Roku and a Roku like security camera or whatever. The total was, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what the total was, but it was like pretty high. And so like he didn't have enough money for it, and he said like, "Oh, I'll be right back." And so my coworker, like this is retail. Like people always say, "Oh, they'll be right back," but my coworker, he like started putting the dude's stuff in a reshop cart, and literally while I was ringing up another associate, because we have sometimes we shop at Walmart too, and there are some in like overnight shift likes to come in, and they like to buy snacks or something, or they'll buy food or whatever. And like the dude came back after I finished checking this older woman out, and he said like, and he was like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna be right back." Like he said he was going to the ATM, but there's no ATM in Walmart, and you can't go to the but there's no ATM in the store I work at, and you can't like essentially he was only gone for maybe like 5-8 minutes at the most. So that's not really possible for him to like go to an ATM to get more money in his account. But that's besides the point. He had came back and he was like and he started cursing out my coworker. And he's like, "Oh, like that's that Africans don't like African Americans," and he was just cursing out, and he was calling, and he was like just cursing, like he was saying B's and F's and everything in between. And like I'm scared as hell because like before that even happened, like I had whispered to one of my coworkers and I said like, "Hey, can you call a manager over here because this dude is pretty dangerous and like he might do something to me or another associate." Because like a manager was standing right there and it heard him like curse people out and stuff like that. And it's just wild. And literally after my coworker like stood by me, another manager said like, "Hey, what are you doing? Come, I need you over here." Like literally, you can't be safe in retail. Like at least not where I work at. Like you can't be safe. You can't have any kind of backup. You're on your own. They will feed you to the wolves because I'm just saying like if I knew that there was some unhinged person, I would not be letting a fellow associate deal with that person alone. I would grab somebody. I would say like, "Hey, stand by this person in case anything happens." Like you can't just be you can't willingly know that a dangerous situation will arise and then leave someone unprotected or unsafe. Like that is crazy and that is deplorable. Like there has to be better, just better management, because that's what less than nice people do. When less than nice people see that, oh, there's only one person working here, or oh, this person has no backup, then that's when they think they can steal stuff, or that's when they think that they can like attack people or cause a fuss, cause a commotion. Because if there were more than one person over in my department, like a lot of the dangers and a lot of the theft that was going on would have stopped. But I mean, hey, like I've tried to tell them. I said like, hey, we need more than one person over here, or like, hey, the other day this dangerous thing happened, or this, or I came close to this unhinged person. Like, can we keep more than one person over here? And they said, oh, well, we need this person's help, so you're gonna be on your own, or like, oh, you'll be doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, okay, cool. There comes a point where you cannot make sense of the senseless. You it it's that age old adage, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can give people advice on how to make work life better, and you can try to inform people of like the dangers, but you know, at the end of the day, it's their choice. So whatever happens, happens. If this store closes down, then it's not on me because I at least tried to say something or do something about it. Like if somebody, heaven forbid, if somebody gets hurt, I'm not gonna be responsible because I've been telling people for like weeks, days, months. I mean, hey, it's retail. Welcome to retail. And it's not like I really need that job. That sounds kind of like bad, but what I'm trying to say is, let me take a sip of my coffee. That's some good coffee. It's Taster's Choice, and I also put a packet of like espresso in there. Food Lion sells like these different flavored packets. Like they have mocha, caramel macchiato, vanilla bean, and then green tea. So Walmart doesn't sell them, but like you can go to any sort of Food Line or other smaller store. I'm pretty sure Roses sells them, and it was Roses, Food Lion, and I also found them at Carly C's. I'm probably listing like a bunch of southern stores that y'all have never even heard about. Excuse me for that. But essentially, yeah, those things are good. What was I saying? Oh, yes, people who don't want to take advice. In life, there are plenty of things you can do and you can try to do. But if people just don't want help, you can't force that help on them. And if people know what to, and if people are completely aware of how to make situations better for themselves, but willingly ignore them, then it's on them. Like, I'm just saying, like, if there's one major thing out of all the lessons that college has taught me, if there's one major thing that I learned is that, you should really be taking advice. Like, you can tell how far someone is going to get in life depending on how they react to advice or how they react to a differing opinion. Like, if you're angry or if you're mad and you say like, oh, I've been doing something for XYZ years, and oh, this isn't a threat, this isn't a danger, like, then you're probably not going to get ahead in life. Or if you say like, oh, there's already XYZ people over here, you guys don't need any more help, or like, oh, you should be doing XYZ, then you're probably not going to get that far ahead. But if you're more open and compassionate, and you are able to generally talk to people and understand them, is that like, I understand he'll only be this person will only be gone for like 5 minutes and I'll send him right back. Or like, I didn't know you felt that way, I'll send someone from security over here. Or like, whatever it may be, like, there is a way to handle things and a way to do things. And generally, you have to play the smart game, and you also have to play the long game too. Is essentially what I'm trying to say. Is you have to be clever. Certain people are not clever. But hey, I will say that my job has given me some inspiration on my art. Like there are certain like concepts and ideas that I probably never would have thought about if I wasn't trying to, escape from my job. And like I just imagine like different things of like ways to build my world and stuff like that. But anyway, don't work in retail. If you can avoid working in retail, don't do it. I'm serious. Not even if you're desperate for work. Like not even if you are desperate for work should you ever work in retail. I definitely think for future scenes when I do like different pans over this city and locations, I probably add like some flying cars or whatever, or like different flying contraptions and stuff like that of people going from one place to another. You might see like skateboards or flying brooms or whatever. It could be pretty cool. Because I guess the sort of theme I could go for is like not industrial, but more so. I guess like early, I mean, not early, I guess like late 90s or early 2000s, where, when you saw machines, they had like a bunch of cables and different sort of cylinders sticking out. Those little cylindrical cables that were made of like tin or foil or whatever that would like stick out on the outsides of like certain machines and stuff like that. That's sort of like the design scheme I can go for, as well as like very sturdy and almost robust contraptions. The style I'm going for has a name. I just forgot what it was called. Like that's just the one issue is I can't remember. But oh, it's almost like Back to the Future. That sort of retro style of machine construction and vehicle construction. If that makes sense. If that's easy to understand. Hmm. Oops. Forgot I had the eraser on. Now to color the buildings. I'll likely do a little bit of shading off screen, just so I can well save on time. And you guys are probably tired of me by now. Because I'll say, like, oh, I'll do this off screen, that off screen, but then I'll be working on other projects. And then I'll specifically save, like, this asset creation for, like, the stream. And then that really slows down my time. Like, I have, like, a bunch of projects I'm working on. Like, I'm still trying to, like, redraw my banner and update that for my channel. I have like two new art pieces I'm making. I'm doing like a character sheet for Trina, one of the 13 witches. She's like an alchemist, that's her whole thing. She also has like orange hair, and she also wears like a turtleneck sweater. She's one of my favorite, let's say, female designs that I've made. Okay. So two islands down, and then I have just these miscellaneous buildings left to do. It's gonna be fun. I really have been enjoying like these streams I've been doing, and my subscriber count still slowly is growing, and I'm actually very excited and thankful I'm now up to 238 subscribers. This is pretty awesome. This is pretty nice, and I just love doing this. I've been enjoying making these videos and making these different live streams. I still have one other video, a new tips and tricks video I need to make, and I at least want to post that before I go to ECGC, just so I can have something else under my belt. I've also been working on like a short animation exercise, and I've also been trying to use longer strokes because in one of my comments, a very nice guy, I don't know if he subscribed or not, but he did suggest that, I've been doing a lot of horse scratch, or was it chicken scratch, where I just draw like a bunch of lines together. And so I am trying to, and that's actually a concept I learned in uh, art school. Well, not my art school, but I did learn that in my art courses in college, where I need to avoid chicken scratch. So I have been. So thank you for reminding me of that. And I'm gonna try to use less horse scratch when I'm animating something. You see, that's what I love. I love comments and I love people who give me advice. And it can be anything. It can be mean, straightforward advice, or it can be something nice and just gentle. But I look for any kind of criticism. Any way that you can help me get better and do better at whatever it is I'm doing, I will gladly take it. If you think that there's a way for me to better edit my videos, my different speed paints and tips and tricks videos, then go right ahead. Give me that advice. I love it all. I look for it all. That's just I'm just that kind of person. Like I'm trying to get up there. I'm not trying to be the best, but I am trying to be better than what I was yesterday. Like that's what I always push for is being better than I was yesterday. Whether that's animation or art, or I finally learned how to draw like sexy men or sexy women, or my shading gets better. Whatever advice you can give me, do it, please. Like if you say, hey, your heads are too big, or hey, have you tried setting your brush to this setting so that you can blend the colors better? Or instead of fast strokes, try slower strokes with more pressure on them. Whatever advice you can give me, I gladly take. I'm trying to see which floating buildings I have. So then I know which ones to draw and work on. Hmm. So I think what I'll do is I will draw this building on this layer. Then I'll just make a completely separate layer for the two remaining buildings. Hmm. My bad then. I guess I thought I drew them all, but I guess I didn't. I went for this pinkish purplish color just to, relate back to the main character, at least the main character of this teaser trailer, which is Ayo, because his sort of color scheme is heavy on the purples and blacks. His purple is quite a different shade, but what I wanted to express, at least in this piece, is this sort of out of touchness and this loss that is existent in his character. And while purple as a whole is representative of royalty, this royalty and sort of renown and fame that comes from this city, New York, is also sort of counter or almost in tandem with the renown and the fame that Ao as a character once had, and almost his assassination of sorts. Oh, looks like my mom is calling, so I'm going to mute myself and I'll be right back. Hello, hello, I am back. It appears as though hmm, nothing's wrong, at least nothing that you guys need to worry about so much. But I'm about to cut this stream to a close. I did reach the hour mark, so that's good. Trying to stay on these things for longer, at least as long as I can. But real quick before I go, let me just reveal everything, show everything. So then you guys can get a scope of the project and how far I've come. Mm-hmm. So these are all the buildings that I've drawn so far. This is everything colored, everything done up, looking pretty, what have you. I am gonna have to play around with some stuff, put certain buildings behind or in front of others. But for the most part, this is the scene, this is how it's gonna look. I'm also gonna add some different effects and what have you in After Effects. These objects are going to be moving around. There's also going to be different overlays on them so that they can blur or they won't appear as crisp. So then it gives a sense of depth and realism to it. This project has come along very nicely and it's taken me a long time, but I'm really glad that I'm slowly but surely winding down on it and just everything is nicely coming together. It's been a long time in the making and I don't know what's going to happen after I post this and after I get this out, but I do have a feeling that it's going to have good results. And I do hope that after this is over, I can begin to work on other projects and hope for other things in the future. I'm really excited and I'm also really happy and I'm almost at a loss for words because it's like every time I reflect on this, there's nothing more I can say or I can even think. But I do want to say one thing, and that is thank you. Thank you for everyone who's liked, watched my videos, rewatched them, left me comments. I'm thankful for those of you who have subscribed, and hopefully I can make it to 1,000. Hopefully in the course of a year I can make it to 1,000. So share my stuff. Tell people I'm working on a show, or tell people I'm working on this big project. You know, anything you can do, whether it's just word of mouth or a tweet or a post of your own, whatever it is, just if you want to, of course. I always say if you want to, you don't have to do anything. I'm just asking out the kindness of my heart. But yeah, that's just about it. It is if you feel like giving me advice or giving me support in any way, I'm always welcome to it. But I better go. I have some stuff I need to take care of before I leave. And please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share if you want to. I also have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee in the description below, as well as a Fiverr account if you would like to enlist my help in whatever graphic design or animation needs you may need. Anyway, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art, and I'll see you corner creeps in my next video or stream.